Hello and welcome back to Beckler Guitars and Repair, and today we're going to be looking at a pretty cool guitar. This is a 2017 Firebird Studio T in Pelham Blue. Let's take a closer look. Alright, so I picked up this guitar locally, and Firebirds are kind of taken off in terms of price. You can't really get them cheap anymore. It's partly due to Gibson not actually manufacturing any USA Firebirds. They're all custom shop models at the moment, and there's rumors that there isn't going to be Firebirds, at least in the same iteration as they were, available for USA only for custom shop for like very, very high prices. So if you're looking on Reverb or online anywhere, you can't buy a Firebird new, and used Firebirds have really climbed up in price. These studio models, however, are made a little bit differently, and they have quite a bit of different specs that rather than compared to like a traditional Firebird, but they still have the vibe, and you can get them without, ridiculous prices still. And this is a 2017 Studio T in Pelham Blue. So I really love Pelham Blue on Gibson guitars. It's that really nice shade of blue, kind of vintagey looking, with just a little bit of metallic flake in the finish. It catches the light nicely. It's just a really classy, cool looking finish in my opinion. And this guitar came in really nice shape. I think there's a couple little marks and dings here and there, but overall there wasn't any play wear on the frets, and just really, really nice shape. And yeah, instead of being a neck through design, this is kind of a more traditional set neck design. And so this is one slab of mahogany, and I think it's probably a couple different pieces. We'll see when we take out the pickups and see if there's any seam lines in the cavity there. And yeah, these are humbucker pickups instead of like the smaller mini bucker or Firebird style pickups. But these are the 496R 496T set, which is supposed to be similar to Firebird sound. That's what the description says for Gibson, but with a little bit more full range. And you've got two tones, two volumes, much like a Les Paul. And we've got a tailpiece and a bridge. Three-way pickup selector. We've got a nice rosewood fret board on here, and it's quite thick if you look. It's quite a thick rosewood fretboard with acrylic dot inlays. And then we've got a Tectoid nut and Grover mini heads. Let's have a quick look at the back. So yeah, nice shape. I think there's a little bit of buckle worming if you get in the light, and a couple like small impressions on the neck. But overall it's quite clean. And there's our serial number dating it to 2017. So okay, let's go ahead and get it on the bench and get some specs. Being in an extremely light 7 pounds, 6.3 ounces. And our 496 R and T pickups are reading an 8.68 in the bridge position, an 8.39 in the neck, and a 4.27 in the middle. Width at the nut is 1.71, and at the 12th fret a 2.08. Neck depth at the first fret is a 0.79, and at the 12th fret a 0.85. This is supposed to be a slim taper C neck, but as you can see, it's pretty flat. It's more in like that D territory where the top's a little flatter. So yeah, it's a little flatter than most Cs I've seen, which is a little something I noticed while I was working on this guitar. So there's a little bit of a gloss crack here that runs from the nut and kind of goes down toward the fingerboard here. And this can be a problem sometimes, or sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes it's just a little gloss check or a little gloss crack in the finish and nothing to worry about. Other times this can be deeper and into the wood, and then you kind of got a structural issue going on your neck. So a good way to test this is I like to rest the headstock on my shoulder here, and then I'm going to go ahead and put some pressure, downward pressure, just to see if that crack opens up at all. There's other ways to do it. You can actually place your hand here and push it down, so you're not trying to break it, because you can break it if you put too much pressure on it. But you're just trying to flex it and see if that crack will open up at all. So if it's a problem, that crack will kind of flex open and shut. That means that it's actually in the wood and there's more work that needs to be done. Usually you can fix it by just flexing it open, injecting some glue in there, and then clamping it and leaving it for 24 hours, and that usually fixes it right up. If it's too deep, sometimes you can't get the glue further enough, but as long as you flex it and there's nothing going on, then that's just a surface crack or a gloss crack, and that's nothing to worry about. All right, let's have a look at our pickups and our pickup routes. So these studios aren't constructed the same way as like a Firebird standard. So the regular Firebirds are, it's called a through neck. So basically the neck and the body is just one piece. It goes all the way through, and then they glue wings onto the sides. These ones are more like made like Les Paul Jr., that kind of a thing. It's just kind of a slab body and then a glue-on neck join. But we can see there that it's a long neck tenon join, so that's nice to see on a USA. Usually the custom shop models have a long neck tenon, but I guess they need this because the body's kind of so thin. There's a look at our pickups. So this is the 496R dating to 2016, so that all looks correct, and our neck route is nice and clean, and it's just one, you can see it's just one big piece of mahogany. I can see a seam line here in the cavity, so it looks like it's at least a two-piece body. And then I'll look at our bridge pickup cavity. So that's a 496T, and yeah, nice clean route there. It's all finished, and again you can see our seam line kind of right there. Just look at our bridge, which is super lightweight, feels like nothing, and it's branded API. And our tailpiece is also very lightweight and branded advanced plating. And here is our switch route, again nice and clean. I really love the look of Pelham Blue. It's that really nice blue with a little bit of sparkle in there. It looks great. And yeah, the routes all look clean, and that's our original switch there. So nothing to speak of there. And here's a look at our cavity route. So yeah, Gibson branded pots. They got that little blue little capacitor there, and nothing looks to be messed with. It's all original. And yeah, that's hand wired, which is nice to see. Alright, let's have a quick look at the condition. So I've just removed our truss cover here, which is in nice shape. And yeah, the Firebird Studios don't have like the ledges on the Firebird standards. They just have a straight kind of a headstock. I still like the shape though, it looks good. And the headstock's in pretty clean condition. Got one little ding right there, and a little bit of scuffing, but not bad. Our mini Grovers are in good shape, and our truss rod looks great, no thread showing at all. And our tectoid nut looks good, it seems to be cut nicely. And we got a nice dark rosewood fingerboard on this guitar, some streaks to it. It looks really nice, and there's no fret wear at all on this. I think whoever had this last barely played it, because it's in really clean condition and there's no play wear on it at all. And just to look at our nice clean Pelham blue body. Again, if you're like really looking in the light, you can kind of see a few scuffs and handling marks on the top. But overall, it's pretty darn clean. And on the back very clean as well. If you get in the light, you can see a little bit of buckle worming in a few spots. Whoever was playing this must have had a belt buckle. But very slight, nothing to the finish at all. I did notice one ding somewhere now. So there's the one ding on it. And I'm going to go ahead and seal that with some lacquer just so nothing gets through the wood. And I don't really mind it being there, but I do like to seal any dings that go through to the wood, just so no moisture can get in there causing other problems. And then onto the neck. It's in really nice shape, except it's got a couple little impressions. There's one little something right there, you can feel it. And another one little something there. And there's a better look at our finished crack. There again, I've stress tested it and it does not open, so it's just a finished crack. And our headstock, the back looks nice. Those are our mini Grover tuners and our serial number, dating it to 2017. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get this thing restrung and set up, and we can check the setup. Alright, here's the action I managed to get on this guitar. So my truss rod is set nice and straight. You can see there's just a very little gap between the not straight edge and the fingerboard. So that means the neck is straight and the truss rod is set tightly. And here in the 3rd fret area, you can see that when I use the 3rd fret, you can see that the string is resting almost on that 1st fret, so that tells us that the action's nice in this cowboy chord area, and the truss rod is set tight, and the nut is cut nicely. And then here at the 12th fret, using a depth gauge, we can see that the action at the low E is about a 1.5 millimeters, and at the high E, it's just a hair over 1 millimeter. So nice low action. Just gonna go over the entire fingerboard to make sure there's no buzzing or fretting out anywhere. I like to speed up this part, but if you want to hear it in real time, just slow down the player to 25%. So yeah, no fretting or buzzing out anywhere, and very nice low action. And the neck feels good. It's definitely a slim taper neck. It feels pretty slim, but it's pretty standard in terms of width, and it feels pretty fast. Alright, let's go ahead and plug it in and hear how it sounds. Alright, I'm plugged into my 1965 Fender Bassman, and here are the settings. I'm using just a little bit of reverb with my Sonic Cake Levitate, and we're just going to go through some clean tones in each position, and then some overdrive, and a little heavier. And I'm using an SM57 to mic up the amp, and an overhead mic in the room, a condenser mic. So yeah, so far I really like the cleans. It seems nice and balanced. They've got a little chime to them, which I like. I'm going to go ahead and use some overdrive now. Alright, so final thoughts on the 2017 Firebird Studio T. Well, yeah, I've got some mixed feelings on it. It's a super nice light guitar. So, yeah, just over 7 pounds, nice and light, and it's very like ergonomic, I guess. It really feels nice in your hands to play, and I really like the shape of a Firebird. It just sits so nicely in your lap. You don't have to wrestle with it. It just kind of, it's very comfortable for me as a player. My arm kind of sits right there, and it sits right there in my knee, and very, very comfortable. And the neck on this one's great. It's a little bit thinner and it's super, super fast, but it's got a really nice kind of a flat D kind of a neck profile. And yeah, it's really easy to move along. It feels really, really good. But I'm just not a huge fan of Gibson ceramic pickups. So this is the 496R, 496T set. This is the ceramic set. And I just couldn't get along with it. I didn't like the voicings, and I couldn't find anything I really liked. It sounded pretty good clean, but I felt like it was getting muddy when I turned on the distortion. I just couldn't really find a tone I liked out of here. Again, I'm just running the amplifier flat, which is what I do for all my tests, so I'm sure there's a way I could dial this in and make it a lot better for what I like. But I like to run everything just flat, just to hear the natural sound of the pickups, and this one just kind of didn't really do it for me. Also, I was having some trouble keeping this thing in tune. I did stretch the strings when I restrung it and gave it new strings, but it just seemed to be going out of tune after every like 30 or 40 seconds of playing. So I think that what the issue is these nut slots are cut a little too deep, which I've seen happen on Gibsons quite a lot. And it's an easy fix. Basically, you just take the strings out of the nut, you sand it, so there's very, very little sitting proud from the nut slots. So you just want them just to be barely, barely sitting in there, not deep. because if they're too deep, they bind when you're playing and tuning, and then your tuning stability is all over the place. So this one's going to need a little bit of work on the tuning stability, but it's easy enough fix. But I was just fighting with this guitar a little bit. But once you dial in your amp the way you like it, and I get that tuning stability issue fixed, won't be any issues with this guitar. And I really like that Pelham blue finish. It really catches the light really nicely. That blue with kind of the metallic flake. And yeah, everything else in this guitar was great. It's in really nice condition. There are a few very minor scuffs and dings here and there, and one little gloss crack near the nut. But overall, it's in really nice condition. Whoever had this before barely played it. And it comes with a nice hard shell case. So if you're interested in this guitar, I'm going to have it up for sale on the Reverb page. But other than that, thanks for tuning into Beckler Guitars and Repair, and I'll have more for you really soon.